Hey everybody, it's Leanne with Paper Heart Scissors, and I am going to make a fun card for you today that is a pop-up card. And I got the card kit, and I had bought the Lawn Fawn little pop-up dies, and I really wanted to make those little squirrels pop up with some of the pretty pattern paper. And I wanted to do something kind of small. The papers, as you know, are 6 by 6. So I thought, well, what if we do a card that is 3.5 by 3.5? So it's a 3.5 um, inch square card. And then that way I can use just slices of the paper that are cut to 3 inches by 6 inches. So literally you just cut it in half. And I'm going to show you how I handle that little bit of extra room at the top so we get a really nice border by creating a little sky, and then also using this really fun little scalloped border die, which will create the little edge using some of that chocolate cardstock. So I am using a little bit of Desert Storm cardstock with the pattern paper because they're so bright, and you could do these with the colors, the colored cardstock that came in the kit too. I was being a little less adventurous, but you can see that I'm scoring the pattern paper that is just literally cut in half at 3 inches as well. So the little squares are going to be 3 by 3. And I scored it right down the middle, and I'm placing those two Lawn Fawn pop-up dies with their little marks exactly where that score line is. And then that's going to sit on the piece of cardstock that is cut to 3.5 by 7 inches. So you'll have a nice little border of the Nina Desert Storm. And you can see what I'm kind of thinking. I'm going to have that white piece in the background that's going to look like a sky with a sentiment. And I'm going to die cut the pattern paper. And this is a really easy way to do that. Once you do it, you can place it on your die plate pattern. So once I die cut those little rectangles out of here, and you could do this on your own too, just by cutting a couple of slits and then folding. But I wanted to play with these, and it makes it really convenient to do them, not having to measure and all of that. So I like to fold the piece that you have die cut in half, and then you literally can just pull the little pop-up parts out the front. So you pop those out the other direction, and there is a score line there, and then you can just fold it down, and it will work perfectly. The dies not only cut the sides, but they actually they score it where it's going to pop out as well, which is really nice. So I took the sentiment, and I actually used some dark chocolate Simon Says Stamp ink to stamp that, and then I'm going to stamp a couple of the little acorns on each one. And then I actually will use a piece of Post-it paper that I just cut to cover the bottom so I could actually put a dark chocolate cap on that little acorn. And you just literally pull it off, and then you can stamp without having to get the dark chocolate everywhere. Put it back on, ink up your little stamp again, and take the paper off, because that's what has the ink on it, and then stamp. So I did that, and then I also have to make some big ones for the squirrel to be desiring, and those are going to sit on the pop-up piece on the right-hand side. So we're going to put the squirrel and the big acorns together. And you see that I'm doing the same treatment with these as I did with the little ones. I'm just putting a piece of Post-it paper that's just been cut in a curve, and you could stamp, and just covering up when I'm inking and then stamping. And then I also stamped the squirrel in that dark chocolate ink as well. And the light brown is the khaki colored ink. I'm sorry for not telling you that in the beginning. So you can see my little acorns. I'm just fussy cutting these out, and it's not very hard. Getting into that tail, it's got a nice shape. I think the hardest part was kind of going around his nose. And then to give a little added detail, I'm going to put some glossy accents on the tops of all of the acorns, even the ones that are on the background. And then I'm going to walk away and I'm going to let those dry so that they will be really nice and glossy, and I won't ruin them when I try to assemble the card. I did cut out two really cute little scallop borders. I think that's an Avriel border die. I'll put that in the supplies. And then I'm taking a little bit of broken china distress ink and a mini ink blending tool, and I'm just adding some sky to that background around the sentiment. And I actually don't want it to be too perfect because I thought it really looked like clouds and, you know, kind of a fall sky when you've got those white puffy clouds and then you've got a big blue area. It's really bright and white here right now in the Bay Area. So, and you don't have to worry about the bottom because our pattern paper is going to cover that. So now we can assemble these, and it's really important to score the pieces really well. And I am going to mount this, the background piece first on there. And I'm just using a tape runner to do that. And just sitting that right down into right before it folds, right where the score line is. And this one you put tape everywhere, but do not put it where the pop-up is. So really secure all the way around, but don't put anywhere that pop-up piece is, or you will be gluing yourself out of a pop-up. And you know, if you didn't have a Hills die, a stitched Hills die, you could certainly just cut a nice little slope. Just draw a curvy line, or you could make a little round hill with the top of a jar or anything. You don't have to have so many supplies. You can see how those little dies, you could literally score the paper and then you could just cut two slits and pull them through and fold them where you wanted them to go as well if you don't have those dies. But they are a really nice little investment. They're not terribly expensive. So I see using them a lot in the future. So I'm just straightening that out, and I'm sorry that this is off camera. And there the two of them are all settled down, and I'm marking the edge. So, you know, because the pattern paper was only 6 inches tall, I needed to have something that would make up for that extra 1/4 of an inch on the edge. And I thought about doing it on both sides, but I actually really just like it on the bottom. It kind of finishes it off, and without being overly froofy or fancy. It would look too much like a border if I had put it on top of the sky as well. And I liked that sentiment up there floating in the little clouds. So that was good, and I put a little bit of adhesive on the back of my squirrel and attached him to the larger one of the pop-up folds. And I took one of the big acorns, and then I'm actually going to give him 2 acorns. And one, I made some little teeny ones as well. And I decided that I wanted to put those behind his little paw. So I had to change the tape and fix that up so that it wouldn't stick to the background. And then I want to put another big acorn, and you could do them both on the single piece, or you could certainly, oh, see, I had put some glue and it stuck to the back. So okay, I put too much glue, so I will put it on the background. And now actually, it's just as cute. It looks like it's falling behind the other one. So it actually even created another layer of dimension. On this one, I learned from my mistake, and I put the acorn in his paw first before I stuck him on. And then I also was very careful with how much glue I put on this second acorn. I just put a little bit on the part that I was going to stick on the background, and I did stick it on the back. And those are almost done. And then I decided I wanted the outside to be really simple. Lawn Fawn also has a really great online tutorial with these pop-ups, and I wanted to make the belly bands for these little cards and keep it really simple. so that when people opened them up, they got the sentiment and the message. So I stamped the large acorn again exactly the same way that I did them on the ones that I cut out. I just stamped the small one in all dark chocolate on top of it, and then I tied a little bow, and I used a glue dot, part of a glue dot, to adhere this on. And I will tell you that I actually ended up going back and gluing those with Ranger Multimedium instead, and it worked much better. And I didn't have, because they're pretty small, so I didn't have a big goopy glue dot out there. But really cute. You pull it off and you open it up, and there's your adorable little card. Um, I was going to put these actually with like a bouquet. I thought that would be really pretty because they're not, I don't know that they're, well, I guess you could put them in a larger envelope and mail them, but but they're, that kind of ruins the surprise. Um, so there's that. Oh yeah, so you can see that my glue dot kept coming off, and it was frustrating me, and that's when I went and got the Ranger Multimedia mat and glued them on. So those are the 2 cards for today, and I actually ended up making 3 of them in the process of doing this, and they are going to go with some pretty gifts to friends this fall. You can use the autumn greeting sentiment as well. There are 3 other fall and winter themed videos above that you can check out on my channel. Please subscribe for more and visit me on my blog or Instagram, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.